Denise, Gwen, reading aloud for you from my short story, The Greasy Spoon. Chapter 31. What the fuck's happening? Ed whispered. Nick had no time. He punched up through the lid again, and this time he was prepared. He shucked it off their cage and it slid right off and clattered to the floor below. Wherever the floor ended in this hideous machine, he did not know. But it did take a few seconds before he heard it clattering onto the concrete floor. There was no way Jeb Jr. could fail to hear this, even above all the racket from the hogs. What did it matter, though? With the lid to the box off, Nick had a bit more room to work, and without another second, he thrust the knife between two gears. The machinery shrieked, the knife held, the gears stopped turning, and the cage rocked. "I hope that's enough," he muttered. "What is this thing?" Ed said. "It's the gassing cage," Nick said. "When we hit bottom, we're gonna suffocate." "Suffocate?" Ed said, clutching Nick's arm so hard that his grip on the knife lessened, and the knife loosened its hold on the gears and fell out, and the cage rumbled lower. "Fuck!" Nick screamed. "Don't touch me! I'm trying to stop it!" "What the fuck's happening?" "It's carbon dioxide. It's a heavy gas, and it'll strangle us if we get down to the bottom," Nick said, even as his throat thickened and his vision turned blurry. Yes, this was it. They were going to die. Save me, Nick. "I'm trying." "What the fuck are you doing to my machinery?" Jeb Jr. hollered from the concrete floor above. Jeb Jr. bent down low, his face close enough that Nick could see his eyes bugging out of his head. "Fuck you!" Nick screamed. "Let us out of here. Are you breaking my machinery?" "Fuck you, you faggot." "Calling me a faggot," Jeb Jr. muttered, and he straightened up and hurried away. Fuck, Nick muttered. "Fuck." The air quality changed. But the knife must have affected some kind of damage, for the cave's progress to the bottom slowed to a crawl. Even so, they were in trouble. Nick's vision turned blurry as the oxygen levels plummeted. They hadn't reached the bottom yet, but the gas was seeping up. He inhaled, held his breath. The cage rumbled lower. If he didn't stop this thing in time, by the time the wheel rotated back up around from the backside, there'd be 2 dead lawyers lying in a cage. Which is the start to a good joke about dead lawyers. "I can't breathe," Ed gasped. "Hush! What?" Nick whipped off his belt and grabbed the metal belt buckle and thrust it between the gears. The belt buckle clicked, a gear pressed against it and stopped, and the machinery whined, but the belt buckle didn't work as well as the knife had, even though the next gear did catch for a longer moment and the cage rocked as the gears shuddered and caught, and Nick was standing on his knees and jabbing wildly at the gears, but nothing took hold. Ed stopped screaming and jumped up to his knees beside Nick and grabbed a hold of a gear as it ground down slowly toward the belt buckle. "Push it in," he said. "Push it in harder." Nick pushed with all his might and pushed the belt buckle deep into the well between the gears, and the gear did stop briefly, but then it shuddered free of the buckle, and kept on grinding. It was no good. The cage crept down.